Good evening, welcome everyone. We are holding the council meeting at the Heritage Hall, Town Hall, on 7:30 on Monday the 19th, 2023. The meeting is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube. I would like to invite Reverend John Fiddler from the Royston Parish Church to lead the prayers. Thank you. Please stand up.
Almighty God, we thank you for the privilege and challenge of representing the people of this town on this council. We pray for the work of this council and the decisions it will make on behalf of the people of the town. We ask that views will be shared honestly and openly, yet courteously, that a consensus may be achieved as for the people, the benefit of this town. We pray for each member of this council, as they give their time and energy in the service of the people of the town, so they also find time for their families and friends. So we commend this meeting and all meetings of this council into your care, to oversee it, to ensure integrity and openness and honesty. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
If you excuse me, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to remind members to be mindful of the climate and body diversity emergency declared by Royston Town Council when making decisions on behalf of the council. Public participation. Time will be set aside for members of the public to address the council on items on the agenda or any matters regarding the diversity issues. The maximum of 15 minutes is allowed to the public participation, and any individual members of the public shall have 3 minutes to deliver their statement. Please remember the public should contact the town clerk in advance of the meeting if they wish to speak. Louise Bradley, would you like to come and talk about the grant for Make Lunch, please? Thank you.
Good evening and thank you, councillors. Thank you for considering our application. Make Lunch is a well-established and popular club in Royston, and we know that our service is really highly valued by the families that we support at Make Lunch. It costs us pretty much £14,000 per year to run Make Lunch, and that's based on our normal provision of 24 sessions per year. That's 2 per week during school holidays, plus additional activities that we run throughout the year. We have actually met that fundraising target. I'm £12 short, but let's call that met. And a big thank you to Mary for your fundraising efforts last year. That was, really helped us to meet that target of £14,000. So why am I asking for more money? Make Lunch is now at capacity. We are fully booked and have been for the last 6 sessions that we've been open. On top of that, I'm receiving new referrals from new families every single month. I am having to turn families away from Make Lunch. We are committed to growing the club sustainably, to increase the capacity that we have, to meet the increasing demand that we are seeing. We have decided that we feel the best way to do that is to increase the number of weekly sessions that we offer from 2 to 3. We've identified there are 2 barriers to us doing this. The first is money. The more sessions that we're open, the more money that costs. That's why I'm here. The other barrier is volunteers. It's quite hard to find volunteers who, particularly for our kitchen team, not everyone can serve 15 meals all at once. So I am actively recruiting new kitchen leaders. And as it happens, I had a conversation with a lady yesterday who was committed to running 2 of those extra sessions during the summer holidays. So now all I need is the money. I'll be happy to answer any questions when you get to that point on your agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise.
Lisa.
Oh, I was just wondering, I don't know, we might have to do some of the other bits first, but whether we could bring the item forward to discuss it so that Louise doesn't have to wait until later on in the agenda.
That's a good idea. Does anybody have any questions? No?
If we do apologies and declarations first,
Let's
because
do
that
it.
might be relevant,
Okay,
and then before your announcements. if we
Yeah,
do it.
definitely. So number one, apologies. To receive apologies for the absence of Liz.
Councillors Beardwell, Birch and Hall.
Right, thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest and dissertations. To item 2.1, to receive declarations of interest from councillors on the item on the agenda. Members are reminded that they're required to note the chair of any declarations of interest in respect of any business set out to the agenda and the commencement of the irrelevant items on the agenda. Members declaring of
Disclosing pecuniary interests.
Thank you, Caroline. Must withdraw from the meeting and duration of the time items. Members declare other technical interests which require they leave the room under the code of conduct. Can speak on the items. The members of the public are allowed to speak, but must leave the room before the debate and vote. It's up to the members to determine whether to make the declaration. However, if you should require any assistance, please consult the town clerk prior to the meeting. Item 2.2, town clerk to receive written requests for dispensations of interest. Is that over to you, Caroline?
Yeah, none of them received.
Okie dokie. So 2.2, to the grant and any requests for dispensations as appropriated.
Yeah, so there's nothing to grant.
Yeah.
So if you would now like to bring item 16 forward for discussion. So if you can find 16, I think it's on the back page. So if you would like to read that out.
Yeah.
And see if anybody's got any comments.
Community grant scheme. Members to receive and consider the application made by Make Lunch for £462 grant of the community grant scheme. Information closed. Any comments, please? Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Chair. I think I need to declare an interest as my husband is on the leadership team and does the accounts for Trinity Life Church, which is the charity that runs Make Lunch. Thank you. I would like to take advice from the clerk about whether I don't think I have a pecuniary interest, whether I can stay in the room and listen to the debate, but I won't be voting, definitely.
Okay, our agenda says members declaring other declarable interests, which requires they leave the room under the code of conduct, can speak, but must leave the room before the debate and vote. So
I need to leave the room.
Yeah,
okay.
But you can speak before you leave if you want to at all.
I don't think I have anything to add. I think Louise did such a great job. It's a brilliant project. I hope you'll all support it. Thank you.
Councillor Mike Harrison.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We set up this fund last year, and I think this is one of the occasions where the community grant scheme fits very nicely into the this grant scheme, and I will be more than happy to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Adam?
As far as I'm concerned, the only thing I've got a slight issue with is that you're only asking for £462. This grants committee is able to go up to £500. I think realistically, for the sake of £38, I would like to propose an amendment to give you the full amount. I have seen the breakdown you've got here.
Yes, you know you'll go to that £12 shortfall that I mentioned.
So at least we could do £12, but no. The only thing I was thinking, well, food ingredients, you're going to need more food, and I personally think that it makes sense to go for the full amount because I think it's a brilliant charity.
Second that.
Second that.
So if you can take a vote on the amendment.
Rob, so, would you like to?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yeah, all I was going to say is literally, John beat me to it, and I think we're all going to be united on this one. I was going to say exactly the same, £500. But basically, I was one of the volunteers that helped a wonderful lady here paint the Make Lunch hall, get it ready for the people. And you was there. And so it was like, so it's, yeah, literally, and I'm exactly the same to you. It was a grant system that was set up by the council, which, shows now the dividends a bit, and yeah, 500, hopefully next year or whatever, come back. I'm sure, we'd look at every grant application individually as always, but I've got wholeheartedly support of what Make Lunch does. And it's absolutely a brilliant organisation. I've been there a number of times myself, but I know you have. So it's just absolutely brilliant. And well done. You beat me to it. And well done, John, for second.
Thank you. John's the second on that.
Okay, so you first need to vote on the amendment to increase the 500. You've had a proposal, you've had a seconder, so you can take a
I just
vote.
have a quick point of order, and this is just to make sure that no one's got any pecuniary interest, just in case it comes back. Are you a current volunteer, Rob?
No, we just basically, they asked for volunteers to paint, sorry.
I don't think anyone's got a problem with that.
Basically asked for volunteers to get the place ready. I've done your video.
Okay, thank you.
And we helped them with people, loads of people from Johnson Matthews.
Yeah, that technically wasn't a Make Lunch
No,
activity. So I organised it because I'm very involved in the building, but it was a community event to get it painted. And some of the people that were there were Make Lunch volunteers, and some of them were rather.
It was the church itself, wasn't
Just
it?
wanted to make sure no one's sorry.
No, it's fine. So we've taken an amendment for £500.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be happy to second that, Madam.
Thank you, Mike. And take a vote on that.
Okay, so the grant application is amended to £500. So now we're taking a vote on the whole thing, which is to grant £500 to Make Lunch. So
Okay, so we've taken.
I'm not sure if you can propose a vote for the whole thing. So do you want to propose, Chair?
Propose
A grant of
of a grant of
£500.
£500. Thank
Okay,
you.
second that.
Second, thank you. And all vote. Thank you. Emily.
And Louise, if you need that £12, you can have it from me, lovely.
Thank you.
Just let me know.
Thank you. Right, if you just bear with me, Chair, I'll go and get Councillor Brown. If you would like to, you're very welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Louise.
A good hope we went, Chair.
Thank
Good luck.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Number 3, Town Mayor's announcements. So in a month of my role of being mayor, I've been very busy. My first appointment was Kerwin's, the art gallery in town, followed by the French twinning civil reception, which was a fabulous evening. Made me feel very welcome. And then I went to Melbourne Springs Care Home, their anniversary celebration. I think it was 3 years. The football club was a family fun day out, really good. Went to the Bowls Club, that was an open day, which was really lovely again. Royston Radio, King James Pub, open event, the 8th annual cycle rally. I got to try out an electric bike, which was very fun. The 2nd annual Bloomsday celebration, and then that evening I went to the British Raj That's 5 years anniversary for them. Today, I went to the Armed Forces Day, raising the flag ceremony at County Hall, Hertford. Really good day. As well as that, I've been to the market, visiting small businesses and just members of the community. So, and up and coming, I've got Bow Books, which is open this weekend coming. I've got Hertfordshire County Scouts, which my fellow deputy will be attending that. Yes. John, thank you. I've got Buntingford Town Mayor's civil reception. I've got Roman Way annual summer fair. I've got Make Lunch Family event day, and the Kite Festival coming up in the summer. So plenty going on. Anyway, that's that. All good. That's good. Minutes to be approved as correct recording at the time of the meeting of the council held on the 15th of May. Minutes 01/24 to 25/24, copy enclosed. I propose that these are adopted into the workings of the council. Could I have a seconder for that, please? Thank you, Rob. And take a vote. Thank you very much. Item 5, the minutes of the committees. To receive minutes of the committees' meetings, which have already been adopted as a correct recording into the workings of the council. Please note that these minutes are received for information purpose only, as irrelevant committees are those which approve the minutes for accuracy. The meeting of the Finance Committee held on the 27th of March 2023, and I'm going to pass it over to Adam, if that's okay. Thank you.
So yes, I'd like to propose the minutes are adopted into the work of the council from 2 meetings of the Finance Committee, one being the 27th of March 2023, so that is minutes 370-23 to 378-23. Copies have been circulated, and also the meeting on the 24th of April 2023, minutes in 395-23 to 404-23. Again, copies have been circulated. I think realistically, since these meetings held, we did have the annual town meeting where we sort of went to length about what had happened over the last year. This is just covering a couple of months of that. But if there are any questions, I'm very happy to take them.
Thank you, Adam.
No, I need a second.
Can I have a seconder, or you ask for a second?
May I have a second, please? Thank you, Councillor Lockett.
Take a vote. Thank you. The meeting of the Planning Committee, and I'm going to hand these over to John.
Yes, I'd like to propose the following minutes of the Planning Committee be taken into the workings of the council. That's the meeting on the 3rd of April, minutes 379/23 to 384/23. Seconder.
Take a vote. The meetings of the General Purpose and Highways Committee. I'll hand these over to Mike Harrison, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Gives me pleasure to present the minutes of the General Purposes and Highways Committee held on Monday the 17th of April. Minute 385/23, public participation. 386, apologies for absence. 387, declaration of interest and dispensation. 388, approval of General Purposes and Highways Committee minutes. 389, minutes of subcommittees and working parties. 390, reports from county councillors and chairman of the Royston District Area Committee. 391, Hertfordshire Design Guide public consultation. 392, Deputy Town Clerk's report, and 393, update from the chairman. 394, councillors' reports on town council activities and representatives on outside bodies. Madam Chairman, I would ask that these minutes be accepted into the workings of the council. Thank you.
Second for that. Thank you, Adam. And we'll take a vote. Lovely. Number 6, minutes of the committees. To receive minutes of the committees' work meetings which have not already been adopted as the correct recording into the workings of the council. Please note that these minutes are received for information purpose only, as the relevant committees are those which approve the minutes for their accuracy. Minutes for the Finance Committee. Can I pass them over to Adam?
Sure. So, council, please note the minutes of the Finance Committee held on the 15th of May 2023, minutes 26-24 to 42-24. Copies have been closed. It was a very quick meeting and I think everyone was there. So hopefully there's no questions, but if there are any.
Second.
It's just a note.
Is it?
Oh, sorry, you're right. Sorry.
Okay. I don't think we have to. Oh, we'll take a vote. Item B, the meetings of the General Purpose and Highways Committee. Can I hand that over to Mike Royston?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Minutes of the General Purpose and Highways Committee held on Monday the 15th of May. Item 43/24, appointment of Chairman and Vice Chairman. 44, apologies for absence. 45, delegation of powers and duties. 46, committee terms of reference. 47, approval of General Purposes and Highways Committee minutes. And 48, Climate and Biodiversity Working Party. Madam Chairman, I would again ask that these minutes be accepted into the workings of the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Second, please. Thank you, Eddie. And take a vote. So on yes, see the meeting of the planning committee. Can I hand these over to John?
Yep, Madam Chair. I would ask the council to accept it into the workings of the council the minutes of the planning committee held on the 15th of May 2023, and they are minutes 49/24 to 56/24.
Thank you, John. Can I take a second on that, please? Thank you, Nancy. And take a vote. Thank you. Item 7, minutes of subcommittees and working party meetings. Members to receive notes of the communications working party meetings held on the 10th of March 2023 and the 21st of April 2023 into the workings of the council. Copies enclosed. Would someone like to propose? John?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
There are two meetings held of the Communications Working Party, those being on the 10th of March 2023 and the 21st of April 2023. And I ask the council this evening to adopt these into the workings of the council.
Have a second of thank you. And a vote, please. Thank you. So, item 8, internal audit report. Members to receive and resolve to accept the internal audit report for the year ending 31st of March 2023 into the workings of the council. Adam?
Thank you. I'm really delighted to present this report because we've had another year where we've had a glowing audit report. I went through the report and there was literally nothing there which I sort of thought was even close to sort of bringing in the officers in particular into any question. It was quite clear they've done an absolutely fabulous job of following all the policies and procedures. So I would like to congratulate all the staff, in particular, for your hard work throughout the year and getting a glowing audit recommendation. I said last year at the annual report that auditors are trying their best to try and go and dig into problems and try and find problems where there are none recently, ever since the Siri Valerie scandal. And I know from in a working capacity, auditors are an absolute nightmare at the moment. So the fact that we've got a glowing recommendation is really fantastic. Well done.
Thank you, Adam. Mike?
Thank you. Having read the report, I would like to congratulate the town clerk and all their staff on doing an excellent job on getting an excellent report, and thank them for it.
Thank you. Well,
Thank you, Sharon. Sorry, I'm more than actually going to say exactly the same, but I want to definitely put on record that big thanks to the wonderful team we've got, Caroline. If you can relay thanks to yourself and your team, and please put it on record what a great job you've done. I think Adam really summed that up well. So, yeah, again, been an outstanding report. So well done, everyone.
do you second that one? Did you propose it?
I did propose it. Unless I didn't, in which case I do propose it now.
Well, thank you.
And I will second it if I didn't.
Thank you. And take a vote. Thank you very much. Item 9, accounts 2022 to 2023. Members to receive and approve the accounts for the year ending the 31st of March and the supporting statement. I believe, Adam, over to you.
Thank you. So I did speak about this very recently again at the full town annual meeting, but it was a tough year all round. I think for everyone in Royston and the whole country. We've had a series of supply side shocks where actually our costs have gone up an awful lot since last year. It's quite clear, obviously, from us taking so much from our reserves that we need to support the town of Royston and not bring up their precept by too much, although it still went up by quite a bit in order for us to be able to function. Bring in something like grants, which we've just seen today, has made a really big difference to the most hard up in Royston. But also having to take money out of our reserves just to cover our costs. We've had a cleaning contract for 12 years, which has never had a price change. That obviously is not sustainable for the cleaning company, and that obviously had to go up. We had North Arts compliance check, which is costing us more money. Gas and utility bills had absolutely skyrocketed. So an awful lot of these costs were completely unavoidable from the town council's point of view, which meant we had to suffer a bit and take a huge amount of our reserves compared to previous years. It's unfortunate it's not a glowing report on our finances and everything going in the right direction. We still haven't recovered from COVID with our town hall bookings, with some of the clubs going under. There has been a tough year, and again, the officers have worked exceptionally hard to try and reduce those costs wherever humanly possible. So I'm delighted to propose it, although not delighted to have the content, which is obviously not the best accepting.
Thank you, Adam. Is that?
Well, I'm happy to second, but I didn't know whether it should be someone else. But I wanted to ask a question. Are we supposed to stand up, by the way? We are. That's what I thought.
Oh, I thought
Unless we suspended the orders.
Sorry.
We could suspend them, I suppose. I wanted to ask a question about in the accounts spreadsheet about the general fund balance, which includes the capital from the cemetery land and the earmarked reserves. Now, the earmarked reserves are quite are specified on the account of the supporting statement, which is very clear. But the cemetery amount, I don't know if the clerk can advise how much that is, because I thought in the past it was a separate line item, so we knew exactly how much it was. But it's been put in with everything else this time. So it would be really helpful to know exactly how much it is. Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Brown, if you could turn to your supporting statement, page 2 of 3.
Have I missed
It
something?
actually details, so movements on the capital reserves, and it has a figure in there. So it says 65,722 is from the proceeds of the sale of Stanford Yard. 26,686 is proceeds from the sale of Wicker Hall, which was the cemetery, and the remaining 34,639 was a general capital reserve. So yeah, that's the breakdown.
Okay, you did need to know that Wicker Hall was a cemetery fund.
Yes.
Which I did, and I missed that.
Yeah.
So it's 26,686.
That's correct.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So you're happy to second that?
Yep.
Thank you. We'll take a vote. Thank you. So item 10, annual returns 2022 to 2023. Members to agree and sign the annual governance statement. Annual copies enclosed. If councillors don't mind, I'm going to ask Town Clerk to read the statement. If that's okay? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillors, there are 9 statements that I'm going to read out. Hopefully you can indicate that you agree with these, and if anybody has any questions, please do ask. So number 1, we have put in place arrangements for effective financial management during the year and for the preparation of the accounting statements.
Agreed.
Thank you. We maintained an adequate system of internal control, including measures designed to prevent and detect fraud and corruption, and reviewed its effectiveness.
Agreed.
We took all reasonable steps to assure ourselves that there are no matters of actual or potential non-compliance with laws, regulations and proper practices that could have a significant financial effect on the ability of this authority to conduct its business or manage its finances.
Agreed.
We provided proper opportunity during the year for the exercise of electors' rights in accordance with the requirements of the accounts and audit regulations.
Agreed.
We carried out an assessment of the risks facing this authority and took appropriate steps to manage those risks, including the introduction of internal controls and/or external insurance cover where required.
Agreed.
We maintained throughout the year an adequate and effective system of internal audit of the accounting records and control systems.
Agreed.
We took appropriate action on all matters raised in reports from internal and external audit.
Agreed.
We considered whether any litigation, liabilities or commitments, events or transactions occurring either during or after the year end have a financial impact on this authority, and where appropriate have included them in the accounting statements.
Agreed.
And number 9, the last one, trust funds including charitable. In our capacity as the sole managing trustee, we discharged our accountability responsibilities for the fund assets, including financial reporting and, if required, independent examination or audit.
Agreed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item 2, members to agree and sign the account statement. The annual returns, copy enclosed. It's okay, Adam? That one? Did you not?
Sure, I missed this one, to be fair, everyone. I didn't realise I was presenting it. I have read it though, so.
Excellent, thank you.
So I would like to close the accounting statements for 22-23, section 2 of the annual return. We've kind of gone through, I think, it all in a way, so yes, just happy for those.
Okay, take a second on that.
Second that, Madam.
Thank you.
Madam.
And take a vote. Thank you. Members to note item 3, members to note the dates for the period of the exclusion of the public rights as Friday the 23rd of June 2023 to Thursday the 3rd of August 2023. Everyone take note?
No.
Yeah, thank you. Item 11, annual report 2022 to 2023. Members to review and approve the annual reports of the publications. Copies enclosed. Does anybody have any comments? Ruth Brown?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Overall, it's a really interesting report to read, and thank you very much to whichever member of staff compiled it. There is one error under the list of councillors. Elizabeth Beard was in there twice. She should be under Royston West, not under Meridian. So that needs changing. That's just a typo, I'm sure. Then the second question I had was, who does the annual report go to? Presumably it's published on our website. Do we actually send it out to anyone? And then I've got a few other comments. Maybe
It's published on our website, and we do put a few copies in our reception. I think more copies used to go out. I think we used to put some in the museum, for example, but because we're trying to save paper, we try and direct people to actually view it online nowadays. But if councillors would like it to go more places, hard copies, then obviously we can do so.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wonder whether there's some mileage in maybe putting the link in the listing when we do the town crier or something like that, so people know where to find it. I agree, we don't want to print lots of copies that are just going to be wasted or recycled. So then there's a couple of comments I've got. Given that we have just introduced a grants policy, it might be nice to have a little section on the fact that we agreed that last year that we would have a grants policy. And then there are a few sections where I thought it might be nice to add something. So under the allotments bit, I thought it might be good to put a sentence at the end saying we're actively looking for additional sites, because if a member of the public reads that we've got a 3-4 year waiting list, full stop, it's not very good for our reputation. So maybe to just say a sentence that we're actively looking for additional sites because we're aware that there's a growing need and that we're not really meeting that need, and it is a mandatory statutory obligation on our council. And then under the cinema, I know it was served notice in April, and we've been discussing it since the new civic year, so technically it's not in this report. But again, a sentence to say we have an interim solution and we're looking to a sustainable solution, I think would be really helpful, other than just leaving it hanging there. I know there've been really good press releases going out, and I'm sure most of the public are well aware. But I just think it would be good to add a sentence just to say that. And then, what was the final thing? I wondered, and I might be wrong here, but under the War Memorial, there's a whole stuff about having renovated it, which is great. But I think I'm right in saying that we also gave a grant for the renovation of the Victoria Memorial for the Conservators on the Heath. Was that from the Town Council or was it from a different council?
Mayor's Trust Fund.
Mayor's Trust Fund. Is it worth just saying that? Because I went and looked at it the other day, took a photograph, and it looks fantastic. I'm just thinking, you know, we need to promote the good things we do more.
Yes.
So I just thought this was, it could naturally go under the War Memorial. I know it's not quite a War Memorial, but I just thought maybe a sentence under there to say that the Mayor's Community Trust Fund donated money for the Conservators to restore that. Just an idea.
Unless it went in the Mayor's Trust Fund bit.
Oh, you put it in the Mayor's Trust Fund bit, yeah.
That might be more relevant.
Yes, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So I think that was all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Robin Wood, thank you.
And thank you, Councillor Brown. I think every one of them suggestions was a very good suggestion, actually. I must admit. No, it's very good. Taking up one of your ideas about, I know we're trying to get away from paper as much, and maybe it's an idea when we do have a big report or finance that we start using like QR codes, you know, start putting them out about. We can always then alter what that goes to. So if they do scan on the QR code, they could then get it straight onto their phone. So that could go into the library, the museum, look at maybe putting it on a QR code, then maybe, I don't know, investing in 10 stickers or 20 stickers with QR codes. But I love hearing what you're saying. You know, we should be celebrating what we've been doing over the last year. You know, this council has been doing extremely good work over the last year. We've done really, we should be proud of ourselves. Like we got the fabulous Pride flag flying again for the second year, put it up straight away in June to celebrate Pride Month, you know. So these are all things that, you know, this council has been doing. This last year has been a great year, so let's celebrate it. And I'll totally thanks for your support, Ruth, on saying how good a year it's been. Thank you.
Thank you. All the comments? Take a second.
I think because we've had some amendments proposed from Councillor Brown, if somebody would like to second those amendments.
Yeah, no,
So if we could take a vote on the amendments.
Take a vote on the amendments.
Okay, and then if they would like to propose that the amended report is published, and like second, we'll do the whole thing.
We'll take a vote on the amended, the amended report and the second one.
No, I'll second it.
Thank you, John. And a vote.
Thank you.
That was 11, wasn't it?
Yeah, so 12.
So, prayers at the full council meeting. Members are to approve the rota for prayers at full council meetings for the civic year. The Mayor's suggested rota is the Royston Parish Church, Royston Evangelical Church and the Trinity Life Church. I propose that this rota is agreed. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, John. And take a vote. Oh,
I'm going to be like a dripping tap here. I'm going to ask the same question again. Have other faiths been approached and invited? Or is it only those three churches? Because I know we voted some time ago to make it more inclusive. And if we've offered and they haven't come back to us, that's one thing. But if we haven't actually offered that opportunity, like the Muslim group, any other relevant faith communities, I noticed Catholic Church is not on there. So I just want to ask that question before we finally agree it.
I honestly don't know because I wasn't involved in it. Obviously, it's between the mayor and her secretary. I'm not sure, to be honest. I know the Muslim group have been asked before and they've refused and said they wouldn't be interested. The other churches, I'm not sure, to be totally honest. So.
Adam?
Could I make an amendment, or could I propose an amendment, please, to approve this, but for a specific request for all faith groups in Royston to be asked in advance of next year, for the next year's process? Just to,
We need it.
I'll second that. All you need.
Thank you. And take a vote on that. Thank you.
Madam Chair, sorry, not to cause any other issue, make it even more complicated, but I noticed, I know we had a vote on it with the previous administration and previous councillors, but it might be also a good point to maybe just bring it up again, whether or not we still want prayers to continue, so that could be a time to bring it in. I don't know.
now would have been the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, literally, yeah. That must be it. Yeah. But if we're debating, put it out to everyone again, maybe.
Well, I'm
Debate
happy
the whole
to carry
thing.
on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I think we've some good suggestions.
Yeah.
Bring in some others because I know there is some other churches out there.
Yeah, I'll just, sorry, Madam Chair, as we've got new councillors, just giving them an opportunity to express their feelings.
Yeah.
I've got it went through last time, but just, I know there's a lot more new councillors now. We're not, hopefully, how they feel. And I just thought it was an ideal opportunity, but I'm quite happy to carry on. But
does everyone, should we take does everyone agree that prayer should carry on? Can we take a, no, we've done it, right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, let's carry on.
Just agree with it.
Thanks.
No,
thank you. Right, so item 13, Royston Museum Trust report. Members to receive a verbal update on the museum's manager and what the museum has achieved over the last year. I'm going to pass this over to Nicky. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very conscious that different councillors have different understandings of what's happened over the past year at the museum. So I'm going to try and very succinctly bring everybody up to date. And then going forward, the meetings will reflect the period that has come before it. So it has just been over a year now since the museum reopened last June 2022. And prior to opening, we concentrated on first setting up operations under the trust and then redeveloping the museum, particularly the main exhibition hall, so that it came with a new open contemporary feel. So excess clutter was appropriately removed, stored. The building's floorboards were exposed, windows, doors, walls were all made good. Main exhibition hall is now brighter, more open, and has received overall pretty overwhelming positive response. Upstairs, the balcony was made good. Acrylic panels were installed on its railings to make them compliant with building regulations. allowing greater access to the gallery for art and photography exhibitions. We relocated the museum office downstairs to a smaller room at the front of the building, and the larger room that it vacated will soon be designated for public use after we develop it later this year. New broadband has been installed, increasing efficiency and productivity. A new compliant alarm system has been installed, including a personal system for lone workers. All our smart meters have been fitted, and we're currently looking to get the aged electric consumer unit replaced as well. Looking ahead in terms of building works, we're finalising the specs for works to install an accessible toilet downstairs and research and community rooms upstairs. The latter of those will become our central hub for community groups, school visits, etc., and will provide educational resources, art materials, and a community kitchen facility. And these works are being funded by Section 106 grant, who have approved funding for that. So we're very excited for the work to take place in October. Visitor-facing material such as our branding, logo, signage, marketing, literature, social media content, they've all been redesigned to provide a more professional, clear, cohesive and informative visitor experience. A redesigned website was launched as well, more engaging, accessible user experience, including visitor and event information, access resources, and the ability to donate online. It also features more information about how to hire the museum, book talks, conduct research, use the museum services and become a volunteer. And it now also celebrates the wider Royston as well, with links, town information, resources useful to people visiting the area. So we're broadening how we engage people. We hope that to develop that museum brand going forward, so it becomes wider recognised and respected throughout the entire community. In terms of exhibitions, Sophie, our curator, has established new, more engaging permanent exhibitions, which are informative and clear in narrative now. Their interpretation has been updated as well to make them more accessible. These include exhibitions about the Romans, Royston industry, the Victorian High Street, the World Wars, and Royston through the 20th century. There's also a timeline case which chronicles Royston's history from the prehistoric through to the 19th century, while larger interpretation panels on the walls explore key topics in more detail. As more of the collection is organised, these exhibitions will evolve, and the number of objects on show will increase as well. A new conservation grade display case was installed earlier last year, thanks to a very successful grant by Helen Giles, who was the freelance curator supervising the museum before the trust took over. And safety glass has also been since fitted into some of the more unsuitable existing displays. The small room to the rear of the building, that's been repurposed into a temporary exhibition space, and that will house 3 unique exhibitions every year, so that more parts of the collection can be enjoyed. So our first exhibition, Pickle for Victory, told the story of Royston's fundraising efforts during the wars. Most recently, our Back to School exhibition told the story of Royston schools through the 1900s. And in a few weeks, we have an exhibition called Fields of Gold, which will tell the story of Royston's agriculture through the ages, from the monks at the priory right through to modern day. Each temporary exhibition launch is marked by a private view exclusive to our members. And we're currently looking into increasing the number of interactive displays as well, and the process of designing a children's trail to engage younger audiences. In terms of the collection, we have found that large swathes of it have been inappropriately stored. Some items are being crushed, their boxes overfilled, others are in damp conditions, wrapped in unsuitable storage materials, and large amounts of the collection are incorrect catalogued or not catalogued at all, which makes identification, research, and access to them increasingly difficult. Several objects are also in need of cleaning and conserving, with evidence of damage, mould, and pests. There is hope, though. The curator and our very dedicated team of volunteers are working pretty tirelessly to systematically review, condition check, catalogue, repackage, reorganise, and improve the storage conditions of the 20,000 objects in our care. And a review is also underway to see if any of those items can be deaccessioned to help alleviate the significant space restraints we have on site. Work to research and digitise the collection is also ongoing to enable greater access to it and improve our database. So far, pleased to report that the near 8,000 photographs in our photographic collection have been digitised, for which we've launched an image service for private and commercial licensing. And we've digitised over 9,000 documents in our ephemera collection, with about another 1,000 or so left to go. So that includes books, letters, leaflets, etc. And that is single-handedly one volunteer doing all of those. So hats off. Because of its current state, though, the management of the collection is a huge undertaking, and one that will inevitably have to be completed over a number of years. There's no quick fix. Events, as expected, have been pretty critical to re-engaging the community and the different demographics within it. We've already been very active in organising several high-quality, accessible events since reopening, which have attracted new visitors, encouraged repeat custom, lots of people coming back, having experienced the ones before, and helped increase our membership subscriptions as well. So just as a brief roundup, throughout summer 2022, we hosted free weekly activities for children themed around the museum and its collection. Each week there were new crafts and puzzles to solve, which earned them stamps. And then if they collected all 5 stamps, they were presented with a bespoke I Solved the Mystery at Royston Museum medal and a nice prize as well. We also held a Summer Fate-style open day in August with print demonstrations, tombolas, Viking reenactments, etc. In September, for Royston Arts Festival, we provided a talk, facilitated toddler and adult dance workshops. We had exotic animal handling and held fossil hunting and crafts. In October, we held half-term Halloween activities with potion making, witch trials, wand making. In November, we held an activity day to mark the 100th anniversary of Royston's War Memorial. And in December, we held a Dickensian Christmas Fete with Victorian games, Yuletide decorations, and a winter's grotto. And then since the new year, we've held Roman activities in the Feb half term, including making laurel wreaths, decorating ancient pots, casting Roman coins. In April, we held a back-to-school event to coincide with our exhibition. And over May half term, we held spring-inspired crafts, making bird feeders, bug hotels, pinwheels, and encouraging the kids to learn about their local flora and fauna and what they can do to protect it. Considering the challenges and of the closure and the 2 years that preceded the trust coming in, I felt it personally very particularly important to re-establish and strengthen the museum's presence within the community and to re-engage with the community groups within it. So to that end, we've worked hard to rebuild the relationships with the public, with our stakeholders, local businesses, community groups and sponsors. We've welcomed back existing volunteers. We've collaborated closely with the Friends of Royston Museum, supporting them with their marketing, their events, just as they provide us with a huge amount of support with ours. And I'm very pleased that our relationship with Friends continues to grow, and I'm very grateful for all that they do for us. We've established a programme of outreach talks, including a very popular one about Royston Cave, which we provide on the council's behalf, which we offer to various groups, whoever will take us from the comfort of their own venue. So far, this has included Royston Methodist Church, Royston Photographic Society, Royston Rotary Club, Royston Mutual Group, Margaret House Care Home in Barkway, Hasingfield Village Society, Gamlingay History Society, Thurfield WI, Girton WI, Foxton WI, Bassingbourne WI. I'm doing the rounds. And Bedford National Trust Association. Most of those talks have materialised into further talks, and some groups have booked to come to Royston, to come to the museum, to the cave, to do the town trail, and come to Royston as a destination to explore as an excursion. We've also engaged community groups on site, like Allward History Society, Royston's 41 Club, and most recently North Herts Art Society, who demoed our printing press. We've been providing one-off in-house talks from internal and external speakers, offering a broader range of topics, including the archaeology of Thurfield Heath, the history of dentistry, the Black Watch, mutiny, and later this week, to celebrate Pride, we have a talk about homosexuality in the ancient world as well. We've engaged schools and youth groups, tailoring their visits and activities to the curriculum. This includes Studland's Rise First School, King James Academy, the Beavers, Royston Brownies, who achieved their local history badge in the process. We've also provided work experience for Year 11 students and are currently supporting an A-level student with their independent project. We are working currently to develop a more comprehensive and formal school offering in time, hopefully, for September and the new academic year. The curator has put together some very impressive educational loan boxes about the relevant areas of history, which are available for hire by schools and community groups. And we're working to offer reminiscence boxes, which we hope will be popular with care homes and groups with more elderly members. We maintain a good relationship with the local media too, especially the listing, with whom we write a monthly article. We see it as a very great importance to maintain good communication within the community. Access resources we've introduced on the website, including new visual stories sensory map to support visitors who struggle with visitor attractions like ours. These are in line with the resources we've created for Royston Cave, both of which we were commended recently by a visitor for being better than some larger organisations. We've collaborated with Make Lunch, providing activities for their children, Royston Library, the arts charity Be Creative to engage with film, art and dance, Royston Photographic Society curating their annual exhibition, and Royston First, with whom we coordinate Whitetown events for the benefit of Greater Royston. So to recap, in general admission terms, events, school trips, since we reopened in June last year, we've had just over 4,600 visitors. There is also an additional 601 people who have used the museum for hire and group activities, and we've engaged a further 259 people externally through our outreach talks, and that figure does not include those given on behalf of Royston Cave. We, if you can't tell, have great ambitions about what the museum can become. The perfectionist within me will always try to make it better, so we are continuously changing what we offer, how we offer it, so we can maximise our output and make it as good as it can be. But what I think we've done in the past year is built a really strong, successful foundation for which to do that. I'd like to finish just by taking the opportunity to thank you all on behalf of the Trust, but from me personally as well, for all of your moral support, your financial support. Lots of you have been in already. It really is not possible without the Town Council providing that support. So yes, thank you from me, thank you from the Trust, and that completes my report.
Thank you, Nicola. So much work. Yeah, absolutely.
Over to you.
Thanks, Lisa. I was just going to say, I'd like to put it also again on record. Thanks to Nick for all the hard work that he's done. I must admit, like many people, when we had that revamp, I was always a bit sceptical what it was going to be. But when I walked in there, I went, "Wow, this is really blowing my socks off." Yeah, that revamp was just amazing. And so, anyone that hasn't been, why not? Anyone, so really publicise the museum. It is one of our great. We want to get tourism into this town as much as we can. Really build that. And we've got a fantastic museum. We've got the cave. So what Nick's doing is fantastic, and really want to put on just how big thanks to you, Nick, really, and your team. Thank you very much.
Just wanted to echo what Rob said. I mean, thank you to yourself for coming tonight and giving us the report. I think that's really excellent, and it'd be great if that becomes a regular thing. I think it really helps to strengthen the ties. But yeah, thank you for all the work you've done, staff have done, the Trust have done, and it's great to see the museum thriving so much. And next time we should probably move you up the agenda as well, because
That's what I enjoyed. It's nice to get out.
That's true. Okay. Thank you so much. Item 14, minutes of the Royston and District Twinning Association. To receive minutes for the Royston and District Twinning Association meeting held on the 5th of April 2023 and the 3rd of May 2023 into the workings of the Council. Can I propose that these are adopted into the Working Council? Copies in close. Take another seconder. Lindsay, thank you. And a vote. Thank you very much. Thank you. So item 15, allotments on the proposed new development and land off Parkway Road and north of Flint Hall, Royston. Item 1, members are to resolve whether or not the Town Council should agree to manage the proposed allotment site on the proposed new development at land of Parkway Road and north of Flint Hall, Royston. Should planning permission be granted? Information enclosed. Does anyone have any comments? Liz?
Can I just say Elizabeth, sorry.
Elizabeth,
if you
sorry.
don't mind.
Apologise.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I don't know if it comes up in the first part. I mean, we know we don't want this development, but if it comes, we want to make the most of it. And allotments are very, very important to Royston. As you know, we're so short of them. We've got such a long waiting list. I would like to say, I don't know if it comes in this part, but Raga, who run the other allotment site, I think should be involved in this because they do so much work down at the Green Street allotments, maintaining and everything down there. I know the town council in charge, but the Raga do a lot, and I think they should be involved or at least consulted on the plans for these allotments.
Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth. Any comments? White House?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I can see the need for these allotments. There is a long waiting list for people to get onto an allotment. The only thing I would say is I would support it in principle, but I would like to know precisely what the costs are going to be, which I don't think we could. That sort of information is available at the moment, but I would support it in principle and await details of the costs.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Adam?
Thank you. I quite agree with Mike. I think we all know that we need more allotment space in Royston. We also, I agree with Elizabeth that we don't want, massive developments, but, if there is some good coming out of it, I think it's a useful thing. I suppose I would ask the officers how much time commitment on top of the cost the current allotment takes and whether actually it's feasible within the staff time to do it, or whether we'd be looking to hire more officers as a result, because I imagine it's not the easiest thing. You've got lots of niggly problems that I imagine come up on a fairly daily basis. So whilst I think it's a great idea, obviously it is staff time and cost that we do need to make sure we're not sort of going to overburden ourselves and create more, more precept for residents just to fund it.
Thank you. So I support this suggestion. I think the town council should run the allotments. I think it makes sense. We already run allotments in Royston. Members may be aware that because the other towns in North Herts don't have town councils, they're mostly run by North Herts. Although I did come across one this week that was run by Herts County Council in Hitchin, which was bizarre, I thought. But anyway, I think it makes sense for Royston Town Council to take it on. I think it would be good to set up another organisation like Raga, and Raga should be consulted, absolutely, and I support that. But if they don't want to run this, then a similar sort of association should be set up with a similar setup, I feel. I wanted to ask a couple of questions. So from the report here, it was originally 0.2 hectares, but they've agreed to double that to 0.4, which means we're going to get 30 half-size plots. 30. Is that, and we think that's viable? Because the current one is over 100, isn't it? I mean, we need more allotments. So I think it's really good that you've asked for more and we've been offered more. I personally think we should be raising our aspirations where developers are concerned, and we need to ask for what we want. They may say no, but if we don't ask, we won't get. So we need to ask for what we want. I think the list is a very good list, and I see it's been compiled mainly in reference to the guidance document that was circulated. There were a couple of other things I wanted to ask about, though. There's no mention of car parking, I don't think. So I'm not sure how car parking will be allocated for allotment holders, or whether it would just be on street in the development. That could potentially cause a problem. Obviously, water supply is included already. And then, you know, just coming back to Councillor Compton's suggestion around management, if we do take on extra allotments, is this the time to think about employing a part-time ranger, warden, gardener, somebody to manage maybe the plantations, oversee the allotments, or are we going to use contractors, something like John O'Connor, who already do cutting, to help us? And what costs are associated with that? So like others. I believe that the current allotments are cost neutral, are they not? That the rent covers the costs, I think. So maybe one could assume these would be too, but there might be some setup costs. I don't know. And maybe the staff need to find that out. But basically, I support the proposal. I think we need to ask for as much as we want. Let's set our aspirations high. And then going forward, we need to be consulting with Raga about, if the development goes ahead, about how it's managed and who does what. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, this is a very tricky proposal to put together because obviously there's no planning permission. We don't even know if it's going to go ahead. And this is probably going to be one of the last things when so you're probably looking at 3-4 years down the line. So what I've tried to do is put something together and try and get the best deal for us. Because if it does go through, and we say, oh no, we don't want to, then you know, there's no chance kind of thing. So we need to work on the project now and get as much as we can, which is why we've gone into, you know, looked in detail at what they suggest developers give us, right down to topsoil, because that's apparently key when you're setting up new allotments. And they did specifically say it would not be reasonable to request a community sum for maintenance. So what Kerry and I did, we got our heads together and we said, well, exactly what would we need? And we did investigate an allotment site some time ago. So, and Kerry did a lot of work on that at the time. So she knew sort of what would be needed for a properly functioning thing. With regards to rubber, we would definitely need some sort of allotments association there. Again, because it's so far ahead, it's very difficult to sort of put something in place or consult on that. If we don't have an association running it, we would need to employ a member of staff. But again, it's just a bit too soon to do that. So I think what this proposal was really looking at was if it goes through, and we have put a strong objection in on this, as I did sort of put in the paper. So we don't want the site, but it's about getting the best for our community if it does happen to go through. So that's why we put as much detail in as possible. And I think all they're after at this stage is, would we actually take on the management? And if we did, what do we want? Now, they weren't offering any of this. As you said, they were offering 0.2. And I went back and said, but that's 15 allotments, half-size allotments. So straight away they come back. We could even ask for more, you know, if we can get more. Because straight away they'll come back and said 0.4, which would be 30 is okay. So yeah, it's about, again, putting a good proposal together today for us to go back at this initial set. There's still going to be negotiation further down the line, but yeah, it's for us to work together to try and get the best deal today, really. So
Thank you, Caroline.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Basically, literally, I agree. It's so nice to sort of agree on this one. You know, it's something that's really important. We've got a wait list. I agree with a lot of people. We don't want all these houses, but let's get the best deal for Royston as we can. If we don't ask, we don't get. As I think Councillor Ruth Brown said, and I think what we should be asking is for as many allotments as possible. You know, so yeah, let's try our luck. Let's try and get another 30. I don't know. Yeah, let's just see where they say no. But yeah, it's great that we're all supporting this, and yeah, I'll just take it as it. I know what you're planning, and I know it's a long way in advance, but it's where we've got to start now. And I'll take it the whole thing how it is now. I'd like to propose that we accept it how it is. But yeah, exactly. Definitely go for more.
Okay, we'll take a proposal on that. Ruth has already spoken.
I know, I want to make a proposal. Can I make a proposal?
I mean, we've got a proposal already. That's the only thing.
Yeah, John?
Yeah, I would like to second Rob's proposal.
Okay.
Because I think, you know, we might as well get in all whilst we can.
Yeah.
We desperately need
double the amount.
Everything's been answered there, so.
Go on.
Can I speak? Can I propose an amendment that we ask for allocated parking spaces, and that we also ask for the shed to have guttering that collects water into the water butts, please.
Thank you.
Okay, so you had an amendment, so if
Take
councillor Brown
The
can
only-
second
Sorry,
it.
can I just speak again? Sorry, the only question I've got, I'd rather have more allotments than allocate parking places. If they came back and said, we'd give you a load of parking places, but we're going to take some of the allotments away. I'd rather say, and that's probably using, which I don't use often, my green hat. If they was to come back to us and say, yeah, we can put 20 parking spaces, but you're not getting them extra 30 allotments. I would rather say, no, we'll take the 30 allotments. I don't know how you feel on that.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I meant that there should be reserved on the site, but
Would be good to
on
have
the
some.
not as part of the point 4, but in addition.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
Mike?
Thank you for allowing me to speak again. I was only going to suggest that in addition to the allotments, the parking spaces should be something in addition to the allotments and not take away allotments.
Thanks, yeah, agree.
Just to say, I mean, it's great that there's a prospect of having allotments, regardless of what we said about the development. We should definitely support it. And I think to what Councillor Brown was saying about other councils, district council managing allotments, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense to have different sites in Royston that had different councils managing it. We'd have multiple waiting lists, I assume, which, how would that be manageable? So I think, and it would be great to have the people at the top of our current waiting list be able to get in first with the new allotments. So I think that's key. I mean, if there is any scope to ask for more, I definitely support that. I was wondering, do we know how many people there are on the current waiting list? Even roughly, sorry to put you on the spot.
160.
160, right. So if we could, I mean, we're probably not going to get 160. But if we could get more, that would be amazing. But well done for asking for more in the first place, and obviously that's an improvement on the initial on the first proposal. But I'm happy to second Councillor Brown's amendment on the basis that it's in addition to the full amount. We want full amount. We don't
full
want
amount.
we don't want it reduced.
Yeah.
So
Full amount.
I'm happy to
allotments.
support that on that basis.
Okay.
Okay, so we had an amendment.
Point of order on this one.
Okay.
Could it not be covered in point 2 anyway, because it's a specific requirement.
Councillor Inwood though proposed the resolutions as they stood.
We asked him for more.
So we've got an amendment to that we ask for allocated parking spaces in addition to the full amount of allotments requested, and also guttering on sheds.
Okay, I wouldn't put that as a specific requirement to be provided by the developer, though. That's the only thing I was thinking. So I've confused things. Let's just. Sorry, I'm slowing things down.
No one did.
It's a long way off yet.
So I think we need to take that first because it's getting very confusing. People are taking a lot of time.
Can I just express a concern here? If you're going to start putting conditions on it, like guttering and car parking spaces, we could lose the whole thing. The important thing is to get the allotments. Because if they say no, you're not having shed with guttering, then does that mean we can't have the allotments? It seems though we're putting conditions on it.
I think we may as well ask. If we do it we'd like to have this.
Well, we
If we
can
don't
ask
ask,
for
we
that, but
won't
it shouldn't
get.
be that they're as a condition.
No, not as well.
So I think we have to
As
be
a
very
request.
careful how the amendment is worded, because we don't want it to be a condition of having the allotments.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm concerned that. With the parking spaces.
We're just happy to go with the full amount of allotments, and if parking can be added, well.
We've got an amendment proposed anyway,
Yeah.
so we need to take that amendment. So Councillor Brown's amendment was that we request allocated parking spaces in addition to the full allotment size and guttering on sheds. That's been seconded by Councillor Squire Smith, so we have to take a vote on that. So those four, I think if we take first, so
I
one,
don't think it's in the spirit that you don't get the allotments if they say no.
I think it's key to ask for everything
Yeah,
and enter
exactly,
negotiation,
exactly.
basically.
Yeah,
So,
we may as well
yeah,
ask.
so, so, Adam, is your hand up?
Oh, sorry, no, I'm
No,
abstaining. I don't really know enough about the specific requirements of allotment to make a full decision.
There is quite a lot in the brochure that I provided.
No, I know, but
There's loads. Okay, so can you ask those four?
Can I have a vote on them?
Could you show your hands clearly, please? Who is
For
for that amendment? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The voting chair, 7. Okay, and then if you ask for those against?
Those against?
Everybody else. So that's fine. So that's
Yeah,
carried. Okay, so basically now we're saying the resolutions as they stand, including all of the list that I put on the front of this document and including the proposed amendment. So if we could resolve that we would agree to manage it, and our specific requirements to be provided by the developer are as listed plus the amendment. So if somebody would like to propose.
I'll be happy to propose that, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. And we'll take a vote on that.
It needs to be seconded.
Oh, seconded, sorry. Thank you. And we'll take a vote.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are now over the page. We've done 16.
Oh, we did that last one?
Yeah, we've done those because we've done the specific developments. So we are now on to number 17.
Oh, yeah,
because we've done 16.
Item 17, councillors' report on town council activities and as representatives on the outside organisations. Members to give all reports on the outside organisations on which they represent Royston Town Council and any town council activities. Please notify the clerk by 4 p.m. on the last working day prior to the meetings if you intend to give a report.
Thank you. So I'm the town council rep for the Conservators, and I thought it was about time I gave a report. And it was a great concern to our community when the Rotary Club said that the Conservators had served them notice on having the kite festival on the Heath after this year. And so I arranged to meet the chair of the Conservators, who's now Nick Keep, and I spoke to him last week. So I'm giving a bit of an update from what we discussed. Basically, the issue around the kite festival, there are a couple of issues. So that the kite festival is actually held on a part of the Heath, which is an SSSI, Site of Special Scientific Interest, because not all the Heath is, some bits are common land. So there is an events area which is right next to the cafe, the flat bit, but that couldn't be used for kites because of the draft of wind. You wouldn't be able to fly kites there. So that's one issue. The other issue is that Rotary want 1,200 parking spaces on the Heath, and the Conservators have discovered that it's actually only legal to park 350 because there's a Land Act where you can't park cars on common land. So they've actually been breaking those rules for all these years, apparently. So there's an issue around the number of parking spaces, and then the other issue is the cutting of the grass. So the grass has to be cut too early, and potentially there are nesting birds. Now, this year, what they've done is they've checked it and there are no nesting birds, so they're able to cut it, but potentially there could be nesting birds and then to cut it would be a problem. So this is why they've been in discussion with Rotary. So it's largely the grass cutting and the car parking issues. And so neither of these issues are insoluble, and they are working. The Conservators are working hard with Rotary, and the Kite Festival is definitely going ahead on that site this year, and they're going to be working with them to hopefully go ahead with it again next year to find a solution to the car parking and the grass cutting situation. So I just wanted to report on that because I think sometimes we get a lot of misinformation going and circulating. So I wanted to be clear that the Conservators are not being deliberately difficult. They are trying to work with Rotary to find a solution. And then secondly, I just wanted to talk about bins. So you may be aware that they took litter bins away, which it feels counterintuitive, but it's actually reduced the amount of litter. But the dog poo bins are still an issue, and they are going to be working with North Herts to try and get bigger dog poo bins, and because there is a bit of an issue around that, and to iron out some issues with their contract. So I think that was it, but I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you. Mike Harrison.
Thank you. Question regarding the nesting birds. I believe that the period of restrictions runs from the 1st of May to the 7th of July. If they're holding the kite festival after that time, surely that would give them time to cut the grass.
Yeah, I believe it's an issue of having to cut earlier than they would normally do so. There are ways around it, but they would normally cut later. They'd normally cut in September, I think. But as you very correctly point out, there are ways around it, but it just gives them a very short window in which to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, I'm the rep for the Barn Centre. I went there yesterday. Today. Met and
Sorry, the rep, I didn't hear. Sorry, I didn't hear what
for the barn.
At the barn.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry. Basically, yeah, no, it's a great. Firstly, they wanted to say how much they appreciated that grant. It makes such a difference to them. They're very, really, it's a great little place actually. I'm going to be going there more often, so there'll be hopefully more reports from me. They're looking forward, always looking for volunteers. Yeah, they're always looking for people. If you want an elderly person, or I should say, someone to use the barn, it's sort of $6.50 a day. They get a lunch there, which is great value. They're also looking at Nick over there, things to bring them in. So I might get them to give you a call, Nick, actually, to make it an interesting event for put on events. So they've got lots of ideas. One thing that they did say is that they want to work. I haven't actually mentioned this club with what's going on with the senior working party. If they can get to find out more, and then they can put posters up in the barn. So if there's an event going on like the Silver Sunday, we can print off leaflets or anything that's going on, especially with now there's more activities going on for the seniors. If we can let them know, and they're happy to put leaflets out in the barn so their residents, or I should say their service users, know about it. They're really pleased with what, especially with that grant they had and with what's going on. A really good meeting. Fiona does a fantastic job, as we all know. She was there, but and so hopefully I'll be reporting a bit more. It was just more of a general welcome chat, and it was really encouraging actually. They wanted to work more closely with the council. They wanted to work, let them know what was going on, especially with, like I said, the senior committee, senior activities, and they will advertise it for us as well at the barn. So thank you.
Number 18, clerk's report. To receive a report from the town clerk.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'll try and keep this quick. Firstly, I wanted to update you all about ward boundaries. At full council in November last year, the council discussed proposed changes to the ward boundaries in Royston, which would create 6 wards, 3 of which were single councillor wards. And if you remember, Royston Town Council objected to this and proposed a 3-ward scheme, which actually mirrored the district council's boundaries. Now, we were recently advised by the Local Government Boundary Commission for England that they plan to proceed with their 6-ward model, and it was being presented to Parliament for approval. I had discussions with Councillor Brown on this, obviously as being part of the committee at District Council. I also contacted Sir Oliver Heald for his advice and to see whether anything could be done to change this. I've been advised that the proposed changes will go through Parliament, but before the next planned Town Council elections in 2026, North Herts Council will undertake a community governance review, which will consult on the ward boundaries for Royston, and they can make the requested changes if they are supported. So they didn't listen to us basically and just went with their original plan. And I did get an email, well, Oliver Hill did actually get an email from Anthony Roach at North Herts Council. And I'll just read this out to you. We had previously planned to undertake a community governance review after our May 2024 elections in order to resolve any anomalies and to move all of the parish, town, community councils onto the same electoral cycle as the district. We can include a review of the RTC ward boundaries within that community governance review or as a separate community governance review running in parallel. We are currently working up the timeline and programme for that work, which will be concluded during 2025 and therefore well in advance of the next scheduled RTC elections in 2026. Therefore, if the public consultation during the community governance review supports a different approach to that imposed by the Local Government Boundary Commission, we will be able to change it before it will come into effect. So it will happen, but hopefully it can be challenged and there will be enough responses to actually change it to how was sort of agreed or recommended by us. So, would you want to over to do
The fight starts now. Let's start challenging it because it is just ridiculous. You know, I think we made it quite clear our views. We're the people on the ground. Yes, one day they're going to listen to the actual local people. Yeah, let's start challenging it. Get the message out there.
Just a couple of other very minor things. A new modern hearing loop has been fitted into this hall, which was funded by Section 106 money. So hopefully it will be a little bit more reliable and a little bit less crackly than the existing one. So that's good news. And also the surrender of the lease at the museum has finally been completed after a long time and lots of stress, subject to registration at the Land Registry. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Caroline. On to item 19, exclusions of the press and public in view of the confidential nature of the business about to be transacted.
Yeah.
It is proposed that in the public interest, the public and the press be excluded from the remainder of the meeting under the provisions of the Public Bodies Admission to the Meeting Act 1960. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Robin. And take a vote.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you.
We're just going to stop the recording.
On that note, thank you, everybody.
Thanks very much.
Pleasure.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Meeting soon.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.